What's up, everyone? It's Riggs again. I'm here with some more DC news. We've got an article here from fandomwire.com. I think this is a trash heap tier news source. We've talked about them before. This particular one, I think, is full of some fake news about James Gunn, Henry Cavill, and Christopher Reeve's Superman. Link, of course, will be in the description. Let's begin. After James Gunn ousts Henry Cavill, Christopher Reeve's Superman becomes officially canon to the larger DC universe. Look at these two handsome devils. James Gunn has never been one to come up short. His election as the head of DC Studios was, in a way, the best thing to ever happen to the franchise. But with such magnitude of power comes the authority of acting as judge, jury, and executioner of all those under his care. And as of right now, every constituent that makes up the body of work at DC is under the supervisory eye of Sauron. I mean, the writer, director, and visionary. With the revolutionary move by David Zaslav to unify DC's entire canon under one umbrella, James Gunn now has an all-encompassing reach over the books, film, television, gaming, and animation that make up the franchise. And so, he can dictate whether a shift in one could produce a ripple strong or significant enough to cause a storm in the others. This is completely false. I thought it was false, so I looked it up because I remember seeing other articles about this. Another from this terrible fandom wire from a week ago, and then 5 days ago, we've got here from Screen Rant, James Gunn promises synergy between the DCU and DC Comics. So what's really going on here is James Gunn is in charge of the films and what the film, the overarching narrative of the new rebooted DC movie universe is going to be. But Jim Lee, the great creator, is still in charge of DC Comics. His track record is mixed at best, terrible at worst, overseeing DC Comics, but he's still in charge over there. And what they're talking about is that James Gunn and Jim Lee are friends, and they're going to be working together to kind of suggest different ideas to each other on how maybe the movies might go to help the comics and how the comics might go to help the movies. But basically, the DC comic universe is an 80-plus year archive of stories they can draw from for the movies, and that's what's really going on here. James Gunn begins casting his web over the DC universe. So, under the premise that James Gunn is not in control of the comics, we move forward. Henry Cavill's ousting was an aftermath of dethroning the cruel regime that existed when different men ruled the franchise. With James Gunn now taking over, an era of reconstruction was instituted, but the numerous cracks in the foundation of the existing DC universe could not hold long enough to support a new, reinvigorated world, and so demolition began. So obviously, we're not too fond of the Snyderverse and Jeff Johns' work on the movies in the past. These people writing these articles are very, very much James Gunn fans. When Gunn started putting the building blocks up again, he made sure to account for the original cornerstone that makes up the entirety of the DC universe. After all, the DC Bible can never be complete without the material existence of a text. Gunn's control over the comics, which he doesn't have, thus also ensures that the CEO can control what happens to each of his 5 wards and mold them into the likeness of each other. To simplify, the ousting of Cavill has now been also reflected in the comics by establishing of Rick Donner's Superman as canon in the larger DC universe. So what happened is I think a week or so ago, they made 10 different universes of all the different media, comics, Elseworld comics, video games, and old movies into established parts of the multiverse. So the Richard Donner Superman film from 1978 and those 4 films, presumably, that came after, I don't know about Superman Returns, and the Michael Keaton, Tim Burton Batman movies from 1989 are in, I think it's Earth 789. It's an amalgamation of 78 and 89. and that's going to be one of the multiverse worlds that exist in the larger DC universe. These people are speculating that Snyderverse is completely out of that. I don't think Snyderverse has been established as one of those multiverses, but obviously it's taken over 40 years for the Richard Donner movies and over 30 years for the Michael Keaton, Tim Burton movies to become officially part of the new multiverse post DC Reborn and all that stuff. So moving forward, there's going to be some way they're going to want to reach back into that pot at some point and play with these characters that have been developed, as terrible as they may be in the Snyderverse. The elaborate plan that has helped James Gunn's creative vision and Peter Safran's business insights to constitute a world in which DC can flourish for all time is expected to be nothing short of extraordinary. But no great monument worthy of remembrance has been built without bloodshed. In this case, however, the bloodletting was metaphorical, but it hurts all the same. Here we go. Earth 789 canonizes Superman 1978 and Batman 1989. So that, they're leaving out that there were like 9 other worlds that were also canonized, quote unquote canonized. While James Gunn builds his DCU cinematic arc elsewhere, the publications of the franchise have been hard at work building their own canon to sustain the larger universe of play. A recent development at DCHQ has released new comics that have encompassed several storylines and made them part of the DC universe. In the aftermath of the Dark Crisis, realities were created within the new infinite multiverse. Among them, Earth 789 has now been elected as the world that hosts Richard Donner and Christopher Reeve's Superman and Tim Burton and Michael Keaton's Batman. Both these iconic fan favorite movies have been adapted into their comic counterparts. The 2021-22 issues Superman 78 and Batman 89 both take place within Earth 789, not only interconnecting the heroes to each other within the same universe, but also officially making these cinematic creations now a part of the DC comics. This gives all those who now come to work at DC the authority to adapt and extend the continuity of Earth 789 arc, and by extension, keep the Donner Reeve and Burton Keaton legacies alive. While across the alleyways of DC's dark and grimy underworld, Snyder, Superman, and Batman die in the shadows, almost undeserving even of Gotham's hostile brutality. I think these people are crazy if they think that at no point down the road, the Snyderverse characters are going to feature in something. Some creator is going to come in and say, I've got an idea for the Ben Affleck Batman. I want to do a comic about it. And DC will be so desperate that they'll do it. So anyway, let me know what you think. This is trash tier for sure. It's definitely welcome here on this YouTube channel in the dumpster. We'd like to see more of this kind of stuff coming from these. It makes for easy videos. But I'd like to know what you think. Leave a comment down below. We'll talk about it in a mail call episode. What do you think about Earth 789 and the Snyderverse? Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. And if you like this content, please give us a like on the video and share the content with your friends, and we'll be sure to make more of it. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.